This beautiful bush is known as the butterfly bush. We're going to talk about it in today's episode because not only is this incredibly beautiful, but it also has a dark side. It's actually illegal to grow in certain parts of the United States. We're going to talk about why that is and why we have it growing here in our garden. So like I said, this beautiful plant is known as the butterfly bush, and rightfully so. It gets its name from all of the butterflies that come to this plant. These beautiful, long, showy combs of purple are why this plant was brought over to the United States from mainland China in the early 1900s. And much like the Bradford pear, it gets a bit of a bad rep, and that's because it's not native to the United States. It's actually technically invasive. And it's so invasive that in certain parts of the Pacific Northwest where this grows very well and can actually reseed, it's illegal to grow. And so if you're a nursery, you're actually banned from growing it. Now, how is it growing here in our garden if it's illegal to grow? So the simple fact of us even growing this was enough to cause a stir on Facebook groups. When we posted a picture of this in full bloom, the page was outraged by the fact that we were growing this here in Michigan. And so I thought I'd take some time to outline not only how it got here, but why it's here, and also shine some light on this very interesting plant. Because yes, it is invasive, and yes, it does have a bad rep. But like I always say, any good thing does have potentially a silver lining to it as well. And so what makes this plant problematic is the fact that it's actually growing from a seed. We did not plant this here. It did not grow here from an actual seedling. It grew from a seed. And that is an issue because of the fact that the seeds should be out of their range of survivability. You see, these butterfly bush are native to China, mainland China, but they can actually survive and reproduce seed, viable seed, in the Pacific Northwest. And so that's why the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, California, states in that direction, have actually banned the cultivation of butterfly bush because of the fact that those regions can actually produce viable seed, which can then spread. And that might not seem like that bad of a thing, except for the fact that these outcompete a lot of the other natural and native beneficial plants that grow. And even though there's lots of insects that are attracted, it cuts out a lot of the biodiversity that can be growing in lowland, wetland, and riparian environments. So this plant can potentially be a problem to biodiversity. So as I said, this is kind of a hot button topic and one that I don't really care to stir the pot on. So obviously I did not plant this here. I would not have planted it here had I known that it was invasive. And in fact, I learned a lot through a lot of you that commented and said that this was invasive, and it allowed me to research for many, many days about the history of this plant and why it is such a hated plant. Now, there are lots of sterile varieties that exist that do not produce viable seed. Those are still obviously banned from certain regions to be grown, but ones that I may feel more comfortable planting because of the fact that they're sterile, they do not produce viable seed. But as far as this specific plant goes, I'm really on the fence about. And the reason why is because I have not found it. It's been growing here for about the past 5 years. It has never sprouted anymore. And every time I see these little combs, I squeeze them and I notice that there's no seeds inside. There's no viable seeds being produced from this plant. And so how it got here in the first place is a bit of a mystery, because it obviously did sprout from a seed, because I never planted it here, but it also is not producing any viable seed that I'm aware of. And so it's really puzzling. But it's also puzzling because it is really beautiful. And that's kind of the nature of a lot of your invasives, is that they are really pretty. They're kind of the showiest of all the plants. If you look at things like purple loosestrife, which is incredibly invasive here in Michigan, and it takes over a lot of the wetland areas, it completely could catch the eye of anyone that wants to grow it. But it overshadows and wrecks biodiversity in in kind of like localized areas of wetlands. And so it's one that I'm super conflicted on, because it is very beautiful. It's not producing viable seed that I'm aware of. And the amount of butterflies and bees and beneficial insects that it attracts is incredible. And so I'm really met with this dilemma of, do I pull it out? Do I leave it here? And I don't really know what I want to do yet. And so, I'm kind of deciding that on my own. And obviously you guys definitely have your opinions as well. But it's so interesting. So I want to tell you a little bit more about this plant, because there's also some downsides that are kind of encouraging me to maybe pull it out, but I'm still a little bit on the fence on. So one additional downside to this plant, and reasons why I may pull it out, is because through doing some research, I found that these leaves do not have any nutritional sustenance for butterfly larvae, the caterpillars. they do not have any home for native insects. The pollen that they produce and the nectar that they produce is abundant, but that's about it. As far as a food source goes, they're not like milkweed, which the caterpillars can actually feed on. These leaves are really only attractants to things like the Japanese beetles, which is also another invasive species that finds these plants to be desirable. And so if you're only looking at the food source coming from the flowers, there's a bit of a pro and a con there that yes, we're bringing lots of food to the area for things like hummingbirds, bumblebees, butterflies, tons of different insects, but the leaves themselves cannot be called home because they can't really be colonized and consumed by any native butterfly in this area. So there's a bit of a negative there as well. So when it comes to this absolutely beautiful yet invasive species, I'm about 60% on the fence of pulling this out and about 40% on the fence for keeping it. And it's for the fact that, yes, it is beautiful, but there's really no other benefit other than some pollen and nectar that is produced for the insects to use as food. Other than that, it takes up real estate for our native plant life, and it robs other insects of a potential food source when it comes to foliage and things like that. So I probably will be pulling it out, but I will say that this served as a really good learning experience and a wonderful learning experience for all of you. And the big takeaway for this is a couple things. The first big takeaway is, one, I want you guys to think twice before planting things in your garden. You see, us as gardeners have destroyed a lot of biodiversity and ecology at our expense. We see a beautiful plant and we want to plant it, but we don't realize the ramifications of doing so. Things like butterfly bush or Bradford pear or even Asian carp, which were brought over to clean ponds down in Mississippi. These animals and plants are brought over for, either aesthetic or a function, but we don't think further than that. And once they actually get out into our ecosystem, we don't realize the havoc that they can wreak. And so by thinking twice can really help us to understand what we're doing and the possible side effects of doing so. Second thing is I really wish that we as kind of a country, but also as a group of gardeners, would put our foot down with doing things like exotic imports. Exotic imports are the reason why these things can even exist, or why iguanas can exist down in Florida and are wreaking havoc, because the pet industry just thought it was a convenient thing to offer to the pet world, but then when people don't want them, they just release them and then they find Florida to be a home, and now they're wreaking havoc on the local environment. So it's something that I wish that we would really put our foot down and say, you know what, we're gonna say yes to natives and no to exotics because they can only cause problems. And then the third big takeaway that I have here is that yes, these are beautiful, and yes, they are in our garden right now. And yes, they are providing a nectar source. And I think that while they're here and while they're a food source, sometimes the pros don't always outweigh the cons. And it's okay to not necessarily jump to the highest conclusion and rip something out right away. It's okay to think about stuff like this because, again, just because it's here doesn't mean it's not everywhere else, right? And so we can think about it for a second while we do our research, because not always do we hear the truth from one party, right? It's nice to be able to hear the truth, think about it, and apply it to our garden, because this may have been okay sitting here in our garden. This may never produce viable seed again, so maybe it is okay. But I want to do my research. I want to take my time before I rip out this beautiful plant in our garden. But I probably will be pulling it out just for all you guys that are curious. But it was nice to have that period of time where I could actually do research on it and learn about it. So I'd encourage you guys to do the same. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to hit the like button if you did enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with someone that you think could benefit from a video about growing or not growing butterfly bush. So as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye.